Anyway, so I think that's why he started licking his belly. But then the doctor said he thinks it's kind of like a fixation now. Like he just
Oh
does
yeah,
it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so he put him on I think it's called busuprine. And it's an anti-anxiety drug. And it's the same one I'm on.
No shit.
So me and my cat are on the same medicine.
That's funny. Is it like now? Is it in pill form?
Yeah, I have to crush it up for him. I just take it as a pill.
Did they also give you anything for the poops? Greetings, citizens of Earth. Welcome to Accelerativ Thrust. I'm Dan.
And I'm Erik.
And today we are going to depress you. Or actually, no, we're not.
Oh, good.
I'm actually going to enlighten you.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, okay. So the first thing I'm going to say is depressing. As you know, Erik, I'm sure Brian Wilson has passed away.
Yep.
The Beach Boys. Come on, Pet Sounds, one of the greatest albums of all time. And I would even, I'm actually a fan of the Smiley Smile album as well. And I like a lot of the Beach Boys stuff that I've heard past that too as well.
Yeah.
And before that, I like a lot of the old Beach Boys surf songs, you know?
Me too. And there's some kind of in between songs, you know, like In My Room or
Absolutely.
Surfer Girl. Like those are really beautiful songs.
Really beautiful songs.
And yeah. Anyway, Brian Wilson. Yeah.
And then you got the bizarre songs like Vegetables and
oh, I love Vegetables.
Me too.
It's what I like the best is on it didn't end up on the Smiley Smile version, but on the Smile outtakes or whatever, the studio stuff. There's a part where he sings, I threw away the candy bar and I ate the wrapper. And when they told me what I'd done, I bust out in laughter.
Whoa!
It's really good.
Okay, so correct me if I sound crazy here, Erik.
Okay.
I think Smiley Smile has a very huge outsider element to it. I think, like, honestly, it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to say that Smiley Smile is sort of like ground zero for, like, I don't know, like Daniel Johnston records or something. Stuff like Captain Beefheart, I think, is maybe like a little more obvious, you know, but like Smiley Smile really does have this like feeling of like a guy isolated sort of like by the world writing these songs because maybe like he felt some disappointment. Because I don't know this for sure. Correct me if I'm wrong if you've done more research in this on the Beach Boys than I have, Erik, but like I suspect that Pet Sounds wasn't necessarily critically acclaimed when it first came out. Like it probably wasn't. I mean, you're going from like, you know, Surfing USA to like, you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
I think honestly that the reception was mixed, but the people that liked it and a lot of critics really liked it. I think it still had some really good press, but it was overall, not a flop, but not.
No, not at all.
Great.
And but then like Smiley Smile almost sounds like him just sort of being like, well, if you thought Pet Sounds was bad, you know, like which I mean, I'm not saying that I think he was purposely writing bad material, but you know, it's almost kind of like with Smiley Smile, it was like, I'm really going to experiment with things here, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny too, because like a lot of the songs, Smile is considered like one of like the best unmade album ever, right? That's kind of its place in the world. But most of that made it onto Smiley Smile. Like a lot of it.
A lot of it did, yeah.
Heroes and Villains and Vegetables and Good Vibrations.
Good Vibrations,
and Wind Chimes and Wonderful. Wonderful is one of the best songs ever.
Wonderful is amazing.
I like the recording on the Smile sessions.
And I really like the Woody Woodpecker suite.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just so like that right there. It totally makes sense how Bungle were influenced by the Beach Boys,
Oh, for
mostly
sure.
on California, but
Yeah.
really
Yep.
in their whole career.
Yep. No, I think Smiley Smile is underrated because people. I think the people that like Pet Sounds, a lot of the people, are just kind of like, well, Smile never got made, and therefore it doesn't exist, and we don't have a record of it or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I personally don't even know. I'm sure there's a story, but I don't know what the difference would have been.
No, yeah.
You
Not
know
at
what I
all.
mean?
And I mean, Good Vibrations is sort of like it. That's sort of like the surfer esque hit. A lot of those, even like "Wouldn't It Be Nice," is not really a happy song when you think about it. You
No,
know?
it's like let's have sex.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
that song should be called. Let's have
Let's
sex.
have sex. Yeah, is that so? That's what that song is about.
Yeah, it's kind of like, wouldn't it be nice if we could um, be married and then we could stay together the whole night. You know, that's basically
Oh,
what it's saying.
okay, all right, yeah. So, all right, but yeah, well, I just kind of always thought of it as like a, I don't know, like a teenager trapped in a world of like adults that like are doing these things that they wish they could do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's basically the same, pretty
Okay.
much.
Yeah, yeah, I guess you're right. Like that is kind
Yeah,
of how a lot of teenage minds work. Like, let's have
right.
sex.
If we were
Yeah,
older, we could be married,
we
and then
could
we
be
could stay
married. Yeah, yeah,
together
yeah.
all night. I mean, that's almost literally the lyrics.
So I think that
Hmm.
Bill Murray had it right in Groundhog Day.
Hmm.
You literally could do anything you want and have no consequences if you relive the same day over and over again.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What is that? I don't get the connection. Sorry.
There is no connection. There's never a connection to anything,
Oh,
Eric.
I see. Okay.
We're all a bunch of loose wires,
Wow.
disconnected.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm. Which segues into my album that I picked, Loose
Yeah.
Wires,
Yeah. Wires.
Exploding
Boom.
Cyborgs.
Come on, everybody, it's record time.
Or in this case, Cellborgs. So the album I picked today was courtesy of Enemy Chuck. Sorry about that, Eric.
It's
But,
okay. I'm gonna have to change my review. It's cool.
This is Enemy Chuck. This is an Enemy Chuck album.
Yeah.
So Enemy Chuck, for those of you who don't know, Enemy Chuck is our enemy.
Mhm.
That's why we call him Enemy, and he's named Chuck. That's why we call Enemy Chuck.
Makes sense.
Simple as that. It really doesn't have to be any more complicated, does it?
No.
So Cellborg, this is an album that he recommended to me called Smash Blips. It came out in 2024, and this, I think, I suspect anyway, is right up both of our alleys. This is my prediction. I think this will be right up your alley, Eric. But I'll wait until you give your assessment and you chime in. So, for starters, Cellborg are from both New York and Los Angeles. So they have, I don't know if they collaborate like by computers. It would make total sense if they did, or maybe they're kind of one of these groups that gets together when they can. But nonetheless, they consist of members B Cell, J Cell, and M Borg, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Great names. And they each play a variety of instruments, including the synthesizer, bass, saxophone, and of course the drum machine, which you can hear. I also think there probably are some live drums on this album as well. But I don't know that for sure. A lot of bands, for me and my untrained ear, are really good at disguising real drums and drum machines and then making me think they're the other thing. So, and I like that. I like not knowing, honestly, because if I ever get a chance to see a band like that, like this live, then I would be surprised. You know what I mean? And I like that. So they all do vocals as far as I can tell, and I'm not sure who plays what. if I had to guess, I would say that they're all probably multi-instrumentalists here, because honestly, this is so good in my opinion. This record, it's so masterfully put together. It's very much rooted, and just to kind of get to the chase here, very much rooted in electronic minimalism. I would say, particularly what I hear a lot is like 60s to 80s sort of krautrock and new wave.
Yeah.
One of the things about the drum machines that I really like on this is that most of the time they're very subtle and they don't really hit hard. So you're not really getting like a noisy industrial type sort of sound.
For sure. They're rooted in rock drums.
Yeah, exactly. They're rooted in rock drums. Exactly. I mean, the synths on here are very spacey sounding and very groovy. Like they interlock so good with the like the bass grooves interlock so good with the drums and synths, if that makes any sense.
For sure.
There's also some really great guitar. I guess I didn't mention that there's guitar on this record too. There's some really great guitar noodling on a couple of songs. I mean, and that's kind of the best way I could describe it, because it's not really like solo work, you know what I mean, or anything like that. It's not shredding, but it really is good. The album rarely gets sort of like distorted sounding, but there are a couple of gritty sounding tracks on here, like sort of, but for the most part, it's very clean and straightforward. Like, so on the song Who's Got the Square Waves, the bass does have a slight distortion to it, which kind of puts me in mind of like, I mean, this is going to sound kind of weird maybe, but it sort of reminds me of like the tone that like Bootsy Collins uses like in Funkadelic or something. Like the tone, a
little bit of Overdrive. Yeah, a
little bit of Overdrive. That's kind of what it puts me in mind of. But yeah, no, I mean, the best way that I would describe this band is you mentioned how it's rooted in rock music, Eric. So this is like a rock band where its members are from the Starship Enterprise. Like, that's how I would describe it. And I think one of the reasons why I think this might be in your wheelhouse a little bit, Eric, is because I seem to remember a band that someone I know who was in that reminded me of that a little bit. You see where I'm getting
electronic rock music. Yeah,
electronic rock music. Exactly.
Yeah. No, I played that for a while. I would say that to me though, this is a little different because you said it was krautrock-ish. I would say it's like krautrock worship. Like, and what I mean is like, it's okay. So I always use this kind of analogy or whatever, or example. Like when we talk about doom metal, right? Or stoner metal or whatever, everyone cites Black Sabbath, right? And they focus on the heavy, doomy stuff, but they hardly ever let in the like jazzy, swingy, groovy element of it, right? Yeah. Like a lot of bands have started to, like King Gizzard or whatever, you know, like, or even the OCs have some of that. But
Ty Segall too.
Yeah, but a lot of times people just focus on the doom. And so when it comes to krautrock, like I think a lot of times when people are making krautrock, they're really just talking about, I don't know, Autobahn and later Kraftwerk.
Right.
And they're not necessarily talking about what came before that. And that's what this really makes me think of. It's like the lesser explored elements of krautrock and things that happened before. Well, I mean, these will also be my recommended if you like, obviously, but like Can, like they're a rock band. Hawkwind was a rock band, but they brought in electronics. They brought in vocal processing, but most of the time it was rock drums, bass. The guitars are really cool on this. Like they're really slinky, and I think noodling is a great term for it. It's almost tropical. I know that sounds weird.
Yeah.
But it kind of brings in this tropical element and sort of this almost inadvertent vaporwave element to it, like a modern element to it, even though it's very rooted in old things. But like you said, it's groovy. It's not cold. It's not Gary Newman. It's not Devo. I mean, there's some Devo in here, but anytime you have synthesizers, it's going to automatically lead your brain to those things, right? But for the most part, it's like groovy, and it's actually closer to like psychedelic krautrock, than it is, in my mind, new wave or, like egg punk or something. There's obviously connections there, but that's not what I'm hearing in this at all. This is like, very much like early krautrock, Amon Duel and stuff like that, but not quite into the just straight rigid electronic stuff yet. And so for me, that was really refreshing because you don't hear it that often. People have elements of it. Trans Am has elements of it, but they also veer into heavy vocoder and, like distorted elements of things and that sort of robotic element of new wave, and this doesn't do that. It doesn't seem interested in sounding like machines or sounding like robots. Like that's not the deal, even though they're called Borg, and you look at the cover and it's very 80s new wave influence. But I think it's more like Noi. If I really had to synthesize down, no pun intended, who this reminds me of, in many, many ways, Noi is the answer. Vocally, drum-wise, the synth sounds, the guitar playing, the almost psychedelic drone aspect of it sometimes. Yeah, it really, at first, I was like, okay, here we go, another sort of like new wave band. And it's funny that previously I had been in a new wave band and now I feel that way. But I kind of, that's how it works, like, oh, great, another fucking old-timey, stupid bluegrass punk band. That's how it works. But no, I really, when it first started, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I get it. But then as it went on, I was like, wait, I don't get it. And then I was like, wait, I actually do get it, but I just don't hear it very often. And so it was, it surprised me, and it's really good. Like I want to hear more of it. And yeah, it's cool. There's instrumentals. There's things that are super minimal. There's things that are super psychedelic rock moments. The vocals vary a lot. I think it might be Who's Got the Square Waves, but it actually, again, we always mention Fugazi on this show at least once. But it has like a Fugazi element to the vocal.
It does. Yes, it does.
And that might be just because I don't think it's using a ring modulator, but the second vocal part is, it's dissonant. Like it's not the right note. Like when you use a ring modulator, a lot of times what you're getting is a counter note that doesn't necessarily go with your main note, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, the vocals on this do that sometimes. Overall, just really cool. And I'll just say my recommended if you like, because I've already said them all.
Sure.
Hawkwind, Trans Am, Nodal, Tuxedo Moon, and especially Noi. Yeah.
So I agree with all of your recommendations 100%. In fact, some of them made them onto mine. But I did hear like a unmistakable sort of, and maybe this is kind of just because I'm not as familiar with like krautrock as you are, Eric. For me, like I heard like a new wave element to it that was like, okay, maybe it was sort of like the only thing I could think of to describe it. So like, but for me, like I heard a lot of Bruce Hack here, Silver Apples,
for sure,
Suicide, even Two-Way Army, David Bowie, Trans Am. I agree with you there 100%. Nodal, a lot of Nodal, and of course, you're gonna hate me for this, but Gimpy, the Rentals. Yeah. I'm sorry, my list was actually very long.
Yeah, that's great.
The Pulsars, Six Finger Satellite, though not nearly as heavy. Missing Persons, The Buggles,
Hmm.
Man or Astro Man, because of the surfy sort of
Yeah.
element.
There's not much else to say about Cell Borg, I don't think. Like, it's really well done. If you like any of the stuff we mentioned, I think you'd really like it. But in my opinion, honestly, if you really get into the early krautrock, like pre-rigid electronic krautrock, this is something that you're not going to hear anywhere else kind of at the moment that I know of. So you should definitely listen to it.
So what have you been listening to this week?
This week, I've been listening to the new Black Moth Super Rainbow. It's called Soft New Magic Dream. That's really good.
Great title.
Yeah, it's super good. It has all the elements of Black Moth Super Rainbow that you've grown to love. But I would say that it's a little poppier in the sense that it's a little more song oriented. Like previously, it kind of followed the ELO sort of additive and subtractive song production. Like you bring things in, you bring them out. You bring them in, you bring them out. Whatever. But this is more like these are actual songs. Anyway, super great. If you love Black Moth Super Rainbow, you're going to love it. I've been listening to a record called Homesick by a project called Repulsive.